Hi guys, it's Dee and welcome back to Dee's Yard, and today I just want to share with you my drip irrigation system that I installed this spring for my 100 Thuja green giants. I'm also going to give a quick demonstration and share with you where I got my products from as well as how much I paid. But before we get in the video, I did want to mention that this may look and seem very overwhelming. I know, I thought the same. But once you get going, it will all come together and make sense. Drip irrigation is very forgiving and it's so easy to fix your mistakes. And I'll even show you my mistakes and how I fixed them. Alright, let's get into the video. So I really quick just want to touch on the advantages of a drip irrigation system and why I chose to go this route, and that's to save water, improve growth, discourage weeds, and save time and money. Okay, so this is the start of my drip irrigation system. This is the backyard faucet, and as you can see, I did get a 4-way brass manifold. This splits the single outdoor faucet into 4 individual spigots, and you can turn these on and off by just using these levers. Over here you can see I have this attached to my garden hose, and then over here is my drip irrigation system. And as you can see, I am using a timer. This is an Orbit's timer, and it does have 2 zones attached. The first zone is actually for my garden bed. We're not going to go over that drip irrigation today. I'll do that in a different video, but the one we're going to use today is zone number 2, and this goes out to my tree line. But just before the timer, because timers do cut off water abruptly, I did put on a 3/4 inch water hammer arrestor tee, and this is simply used to absorb the shock when flowing water in a piping system suddenly stops. Now I haven't had any issue with water hammer, but I did install that just to ensure I get no damaging effects to my pipes. So then there's our timer, and I will show you shortly on how to set that up manually, but you definitely can set this up so you are completely hands off and it just runs and stops on its own. Okay, so downflow from the timer, the first installed equipment is called a backflow preventer, also known as a hose vacuum breaker, and this just prevents contamination. It doesn't let water enter your water supply, and sometimes this is locally required, especially for shared water sources. Downflow from that is a 3/4 inch thread filter, and there's a mesh screen inside for keeping dirt and particles from clogging up your drip emitters, so this is very important. Downflow from the filter, I have a 3/4 inch hose pressure regulator. This is a PSI of 25, and this regulates the pressure within the drip irrigation system. I normally use 25 PSI for poly tubing. If you're using drip tape, you would use a different pressure. Downflow from the pressure regulator, we have a female hose 3/4 inch adapter, or you'd use 1/2 inch based on what tubing you're using. But this is used to connect the poly tube, also known as the main line, of any size to a standard 3/4 inch male garden hose thread. Okay, so from the adapter you can see we have a 3/4 inch poly tubing. This is the mainline tubing, and it acts as the water supply for your system. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information. Let's just go over it really quick one more time. We have our hose faucet. Then I did a 4-way manifold. This is completely optional. You don't have to use this. Then I used a water hammer arrestor tee. This is also optional. You don't have to use this. Then I have a timer. Optional, but highly recommended. Backflow preventer, filter, pressure regulator, a female adapter. I am using 3/4 inch poly tubing. Here's my main line of my water source. I do have it hidden under some mulch, so let me show you where it comes out. Okay, so this is where the tubing comes out from my garden bed and continues on to the tree line. I did want to show you that every so often I do have them stapled down. I'm using landscape staples, very basic, very cheap. Now, you could bury this hose. I did not. It was actually recommended not to do it on the website that I use based on critters. Okay, so our main hose keeps coming out, and this is where the tubing comes out. Okay, so we follow the drip line and comes all the way out to my tree line, and I need it to go in either direction, so I did install a 3/4 inch barb tee. This one right here goes back to my water source, to the faucet. All right, so first we're gonna go to the left. All right, we've reached the end, the last tree of this line, and I do have a 3/4 inch end cap, and this can screw on and off, which makes easy for overwintering. Now let's go down to the other side. All right, so we just got back to the tee. Remember, this is the one we just followed, and this one goes back to the outdoor faucet. Now let's follow this one. Okay, so I've reached the end of the tree line, but I am not done. My tree line continues on, so I need something that goes around this corner. As you can see, I do have a landscape staple again. This is a 3/4 inch barbed elbow, just attached on. There's a tubing, so let's go around the corner. I reached another end of this line, but my tree line is still not done, so I added another 3/4 inch barbed elbow so we can hit this 90-degree turn, and here we go. All right, we made it to the end of my tree line and have another 3/4 inch end cap, and this also screws on and off to make easy for overwintering. Now I need to show you how I'm getting the water to each individual tree. Now to each individual tree, I do keep all of the drip underneath the mulch, but for this example, I do have this one above the mulch. It is on and running, and it's dripping around the entire tree. All right, so here is our main line that I just went around and showed you that was installed to every tree, and to actually get water to the tree, I am using a micro tubing. This has no holes, no emitters. But first we need to poke a hole with our Pro Punch, enter in a 1/4 inch barb coupler, attach the 1/4 inch micro tubing. This has no holes, no emitters. Then attach a 1/4 inch barb tee to go in either direction. Then we attach a 1/4 inch drip line tubing. The one I'm using has emitters spaced every 9 inches. And these emitters give off 1/2 gallon per hour. Now these drip lines have many different spacings, and you can get different water flow as well. Now once these trees get more mature and bigger, I will take out the tree ring and just install an emitter on each side of the root ball. But for now, this is the best way to get evenly dispersed water around the entirety of the tree. Okay, so just to recap, here's our main line. Punch a hole, insert a 1/4 inch coupler, 1/4 inch micro tubing. This has no holes, 1/4 inch barbed tee, then either at that point emitters or drip line tubing. And my drip line tubing is 9 inches apart, 1/2 gallon per hour. Now the way I have mine set up, because I have 5 emitters that give off 1/2 gallon per hour, I'm getting 2.5 gallons per tree. Every 2 hours, each tree is getting 5 gallons of water. Okay, so just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to demonstrate on this newly planted Camellia sasanqua on how I do drip irrigation for my tree line. But that's not how I usually do drip irrigation for my garden bed. I do use a different type of tubing and system, but I will explain that in a different video. But it's a pretty similar setup. Here is the main line that's coming from the outdoor faucet. And as you can see, I have an end cap as well, just like I do out on the tree line. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is take this 1/4 inch drip line tubing that is spaced 9 inches apart, and it's 1/2 gallon per hour emitters. Okay, and I'm just going to take my pruners and cut. Okay, so here is my drip tree ring, and I need to be able to connect these two. So I'm just going to take this barbed 1/4 inch tee to attach these to make a ring. And it is kind of snug. I've heard people say to use hot water. Just dip those in there and that will loosen it up and make it a little bit easier. Okay, so after positioning the drip ring around the root ball, it's time to connect the 1/4 inch micro tubing with no emitters to the drip ring. First, we need to measure the amount of tubing needed between the mainline tubing and the drip ring. Use pruners or scissors to cut the 1/4 inch micro tubing. Next, connect the micro tubing to the 1/4 inch barb tee on the drip ring. Then, take a 1/4 inch barb coupler and attach on the other side of the micro tubing. Next, take a Pro Punch and punch a hole in the main line of your water source. Insert the barb coupler to connect the micro tubing. You will hear a punch sound to know that you have inserted it correctly. So now I have a mainline water supply, a barb coupler to connect the micro tubing to get water to my drip ring. A barb tee is then used to split off the water to evenly disperse around the tree. Lastly, take a landscape staple and tack down either the mainline tubing if needed or the micro tubing to keep it in place. To finish off the look and hide all the tubing, add mulch on top of the drip line. And that's a quick example how to get water from a main line to the root ball of a tree. Okay, so now I want to show you some of the mistakes I made with my drip irrigation system and how easy they were to fix. Now you may see next to the example I was showing you, there is a little plug inserted into this drip line. And that was a mistake I made. I accidentally poked a hole on top of the drip line, and that's not where I wanted it. I want it more on an angle to the side. So if you happen to poke a hole incorrectly, all you need is something called a goof plug. All I did was push that right in there. Boom, fixed. The next mistake was over here. I accidentally cut this line, and I needed to be able to attach the main line back together. So all I did was put in this Permalock coupler. So if you cut it on accident, just put this in and add the tube on either side. Boom, fixed. Okay, this is a website that I want to show you. It is called Drip Depot, and you can find it by going to dripdepot.com. This is where I purchased all my drip irrigation supplies from, and this company is so helpful. They have a great customer service, and I highly recommend it. One thing I did want to show you is how this website has kits. Now they have kits for any sort of irrigation that you need, but you don't have to actually purchase the entire kit. You can customize it to your own needs. So they have the basic kits that you can purchase based on how many trees you're going to irrigate. I worked off of the 100 tree irrigation. I didn't actually purchase this kit outright. I did customize it to my own needs. So you can go right into the kit and you can remove things, or you can get different sizes, which is fantastic. So after I customize everything, I paid a total of $250. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did and thought it was helpful, then please give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe. That will help me out so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys!